So the final season of L'Espion is coming out in less than a week, May 25th. So here's a recap of everything you need to know before the final season comes out. I'm out of breath. Let's begin. So the story begins in 2015, where two brothers, Tim and Orlando, meet a mysterious man named Jackson 45, also known as L'Espion. The three join forces and discover the existence of alien life. Not much is known about them at the time, other than the fact that they can shapeshift into the form of any person and that they want the younger of the two brothers, Tim. A long-ass battle ensues, which results in the death of Jackson and the loss of Tim's right eye. Out of the chaos, Tim meets a man named Roger, whose whole life revolves around the concept of peace. This encourages Tim to try and be less of a violent person. But just when his perspective shifts, the alien that attacked him earlier takes on the form of a cop named Vincent. In disguise, Vincent kills Tim's brother Orlando, and this brings Tim to his breaking point. At this point, Tim has lost almost everything, and after a whole season of depression, him and Roger finally get the courage to fight back. Roger attempts to use his words to de-escalate the situation, which unfortunately gets him killed. But Tim manages to make a stand and finally defeat Vincent. Tim buries his friend, but is burdened with the question, why? Why did all this happen? What did they want from me? So a year passes when Tim gets recruited by the Agency, the spy organization that sent Jackson 45 from the beginning. The leader, Mark Adams, puts together a team of unlikely agents in a base in Dubai to fight a corporation named GEMS that have created a virus to cleanse humanity, turning them into violent, infected, yes, basically zombies. So this Mark guy, he trains the group and becomes a mentor figure for Tim, electing him to become the new L'Espion. So they plan an attack on GEMS and successfully defeat them. However, the plan goes awry when all the bases self-destruct to hide the evidence of the virus, all the while Tim still being in one of the bases. So at this point, Mark is kind of depressed. He thinks Tim is dead, he's drinking, and he's left alone with one surviving agent, Roman, and he decides to quit being a secret agent and go dark. Season 2 picks up 7 months later when Tim wakes up in Italy, for some reason. He somehow survived the explosion and he was captured by two maniacs, Denver and Tyler, and is told about 4 alien artifacts known as the orbs.
What is an orb?
This part's kind of important. These orbs are scattered across Europe, and Tim hears about the rumor of an alien potentially coming to get them, which is pretty bad news because aliens weren't very nice in the past to Tim. So one of these orbs was sold in an auction in Dubai and brought to Geneva, held by a lady, which we kind of haven't met before, so I don't want to spoil anything. One is in an abandoned GEMS base in Milan. Another is inside of the body of a girl named Lily. And the last one is unknown. No one knows where it is. So this Lily girl and her brother Evan, they join forces with Tim and another prisoner to overthrow the bad guys, and they win. They kill Denver, and then they escape into the streets of Italy. Right off the bat, the group gets ambushed by Tyler, and this separates everyone. Tyler wants Lily as she has one of the orbs inside of her, and her brother Evan decides to take matters into his own hands, and he negotiates with Tyler to protect his sister. In this conversation, Evan discovers that the GEMS bases around the globe have become quarantine zones, each crawling with zombies, which he must now venture into to grab the second orb, and this is the deal he seals with Tyler to leave Lily alone. After fighting and surviving a few zombies, he is saved by a woman named Sarah. However, by doing so, she gets bitten and infected. This girl's sole purpose in life is to protect that one orb, and in her dying breaths, she makes a phone call and calls up this mysterious woman and asks her to take her identity, also going by the name of Sarah, and asks for her to step in and protect this orb. So now Evan and this new Sarah, having the orb, they decide to rebel against Tyler. And this leads to Evan getting his hand chopped off by a kitchen knife. Holy shit. And Sarah finally managing to kill Tyler. Meanwhile, Tim meets a girl. Her name is Riley, and she's helping him stay undercover for a while. And this leads to some romantic tension. Is that the right word? I don't know. Anyways, Tim kind of likes her. They go on dates and shit. But one day, a figure appears in the house. Kyber. He's an alien that has been hibernating for years and has finally woken up to retrieve all 4 orbs. And from here onwards, this Kyber begins haunting Tim. Kyber, for some reason, spares Riley's life and uses his powers to teleport Tim to Switzerland. So it's revealed that Riley is a secret agent, and she researches where the orbs are, and this leads to her finding Sarah, who now has an electrically overpowered weapon that looks like a femur. We cut to a dream, and Tim sees himself wearing an elegant shirt stained with blood. However, he doesn't understand the significance yet. This is also quite important. So now, stranded in the Swiss mountains, Tim meets a new character called Samuel, and he's the founder of the Dubai spy organization and is now on a mission to retrieve the orbs as well. He received a distress signal from Mark, warning him about Kyber and the importance of something called the Tree of Life. Quite mystical, yes. So the involvement of Mark, Tim's mentor, is just enough to convince him to go on a mission and retrieve one of the orbs. However, it all turns out to be a trap. Kyber carefully paved Tim's path for a literal conversation, and Tim finally gets some answers. It turns out that his species is facing extinction, and the only way to save them is by collecting all 4 orbs and essentially taking them to the Tree of Life. In the midst of conversation, Kyber reveals that he murdered Lily, Evan's sister, and by doing so, he has one of the orbs in his possession. So Tim, now terrified, leaves to gather as many people as he can to fight back, and this includes Mark, his former mentor, who has replied, and he's coming. So that's all so far, motherfuckers. I know many questions are left unanswered as of now, but all will be concluded in the final season, and new episodes every Sunday starting May 25th, so stay tuned, and I'm pretty excited. I just became a dinosaur.